We don't stay because we love the job. Again, I challenge any of you, if you were to win the lottery tomorrow and get $50 million, would you continue doing what you're doing? And again, if the answer is yes, then I commend you for that, because then you're living your dream, you're living your life's purpose, you're where you want to be. But 90% of us aren't. And if you're telling yourself that, ask yourself the question. You don't have to tell anybody. You don't even have to tell me. I'm not going to ask you to leave it in the comments. But what I am going to say is you got to be honest with yourself, because at some point you're going to look back and say, maybe Sabado was onto something. And a lot of times we stay because we're afraid. We're afraid of starting over. As people, we find safety and comfort in routine. We're creatures of habit. And so we're afraid of starting over. We're afraid of having to do the HR paperwork, do the background checks, do the drug tests, doing the interviews, having your first 90-day review, all of those things. Those create a layer of angst. Now, I'm not saying it scares everybody away, but none of us like that. None of us like the feeling of starting over. We're afraid of losing income. A lot of times when you start a new job, you have to get into their pay cycles. And sometimes if you're paid bi-weekly, sometimes it takes a full cycle for you to get a check. And that first check is gonna make you late on your rent or your mortgage or your child support or whatever it is that you have to pay. And we don't wanna find ourselves in that situation where we lose that income, or we just lose the money from it, or we lose the ability to contribute to our 401ks or 403bs or our retirement plans or any of that. And so that becomes a real scary part in our lives. And we're afraid we're not ready. Sometimes we think about going into new situations and saying, look, this next job is going to require a different set of skills. Not that you don't have the skills, but maybe you didn't use those skills in your current job. And so you're afraid that if you make the switch, you may not be ready for it. You may not be ready for the enhanced level of responsibility. You may not be ready to lead a bigger team. And so what do? We stick around, because they say the devil we know is better than the devil we don't know. And that's no different when you're looking at dealing with your toxic work environment.